So you have your brand new Foresight GC3 launch monitor, and if you're like me, you are excited to not only use the launch monitor at home on a simulation setup, but you're also raring to take your new launch monitor out to the driving range or maybe even on course with you. But we've spent a little bit of money on this new launch monitor, so it's really important that when we're transporting this, we keep it safe. Now, I do have a couple of options for you, and I want to say thank you so much to the Foresight Facebook community group who helped me to decide which of these options to take a look at. A huge thank you to that community who have been super helpful. And I also just want to mention before we get to my two preferred options that, you know what? Actually, the box that the GC3 comes in directly from Foresight is pretty good at this job. I mean, it's padded, it's the right size, and it's not too unwieldy. So before you go out and spend a bunch on anything new, like a carry case or a carry bag for your GC3 launch monitor, just think, could I use just the box that it came in? Ask yourself that, give it a try, and if not, well, keep on watching. One thing that I also want to mention is that Foresight does actually provide an option to buy a carry bag from them. Now, I didn't do that. Number one, I couldn't seem to get a hold of it here in the UK. And number two, it's about 120 bucks, which is quite expensive when you've just paid thousands for this launch monitor. I know, arguably, well, you know, what's another 120 bucks when I've spent all of that money on the launch monitor? But it all adds up, especially if you're building a sim room or if you're into golf, we're always spending on something. But just bear that in mind, that I didn't get that. I couldn't get hold of it. And I think there are just as good options out there. I'm going to get into my two preferred options in just a second. But first, remember, hit like, hit subscribe, and tell a friend who you think this might help. So my two options I have in front of me right now. I've got a hard case and I've got a soft carry bag. I've got my own preference on which one I enjoy more. I think one of them actually fits the bill a lot better. So come and join me. I'm going to walk you through those two options right now and then summarize at the end why I think one of them is marginally better than the other. All right, so look, I've got my GC3 and I've got my alignment stick here ready to test these options out. And first and foremost, I think it's important to say that I want to be able to get both of these things in. I want to be able to get, obviously, the launch monitoring, but also the alignment stick, because it's important that I can do this when I get out to the range. So first up, we have this, the Low Pro lens case. It's basically a camera lens case. It's intended for camera lenses. It's there to be put onto another bag, onto you know what it's like if you're a photographer. There's a lot of gear that you need to carry. This is intended to be sort of modular against other bags, but it does work really well on its own. It's got this over the shoulder sort of sling handle, which is great for chucking it over the shoulder, which I particularly like. From a launch monitor perspective for the GC3, because of course you're going to be carrying your bag around, your golf gear, and anything else, maybe a bag of balls or whatever. So being able to sling this over the shoulders a real benefit. What's interesting is that this is sort of, if I put the GC3 next to it, the size is, I mean, it's pretty much perfect. You know, and that's a pretty good size. It looks a bit tight, if I'm honest. Am I going to get everything that I need in it? So let's see. All right, let's see. This is a Low Pro lens case. And this is pretty cheap. This is only £60 from Amazon. So compared to the official Foresight bag, I mean, it's what, half price, maybe over half price. So what do we have? Well, because it's a lens case, there's not much to it. It's very sturdy, very well padded. I mean, you've got at least a centimetre, maybe even 12-13 mil of padding there. This sort of feels water resistant padding. Same on the lid. And we've also got this pouch, I guess. Decent brand. Low Pro is a good brand. Like I said, £60. But does it fit? does the GC3 fit inside the Low Pro? Well, it's looking good. It does. It does. It fits. It sort of feels like it sticks out a bit. If you look at the profile of it there, you see? So it feels like it sticks out a little bit. But that's all right. That's okay. Does it zip up? Yeah, you can do it just a little tight. But actually, that's pretty good. There's maybe a little bit, you can just see it bulging. Just a tad here. Don't know, would that be all right for my sort of OCD? Because I can, theoretically, if I drop this on here, you know, if I drop this on the top, is it going to be protected? It's got that 12mm, 30mm of padding. I'd like to think so. But would I trust it with such an expensive piece of kit? I don't know, I don't know. And what about the alignment stick? Can we get the alignment stick in? Well, we can just about get it in, I think. It's taking some doing, but maybe just. Yeah, you see, this is where the problem is. Because I want to take the alignment stick out, and of course I do. Because that's the point of it, is to take it out on the range. It sort of sticks out a little bit there, but that's okay, I think. It's pretty usable. You know, it's pretty nicely done. Yeah, that's all right, actually. I do quite like that. Yeah, do you know what? I could get on board with that, actually. I didn't think I'd like that. Because if it's sticking out, I say sticking out, just bulging. Okay. So the Low Pro, that's a lens bag. You can get other lens bags. I've bought everything that I'm looking at today, these two options. I've purchased these. These aren't, you know, no one's gifted them to me. I've not been sent them for like any endorsements or anything like that. I like all the little handles this has got. Look, it's got handles everywhere, which is quite cool. So I actually quite like that. That is better than I expected, if I'm honest. So, I mean, do I want to drop it? Feels confident enough, I guess. I don't know. So the Low Pro, that's the camera case. Sorry, the lens case. Feels okay. All right, you can see it's made for a lens, 13 times 32 centimeter. So yeah, that's all right. Okay. Okay, option one. £60, Low Pro camera lens case. Feels okay. Is it waterproof? Should be. It's for a camera lens. You would think it would be waterproof. That's the whole point of it. Okay, next up, we've got something that looks to be a little more rugged. It's the Maya, I don't really know how you say that, the Maya hard case, and it really is. It's one of those hardcore flight cases that you see sort of dotted around. These are used for all sorts of things, from guitars and that sort of style, musical instrument transportation, through to things like cameras and photography equipment. So, very, very sturdy. You know, this is, you can hear it. This is hard, all right? So it's a hard shell case, which I sort of like the idea of. It's very specifically set up to be rugged. You know, that's the idea of this. It's supposed to be waterproof. It's supposed to be bouncy, I guess. Supposed to be bouncy. I'm not sure what this does. I think that maybe tightens up the seal, if I'm honest. I'll have to check into that. So like I said, this is a very, very hard, rugged case. Other brands are available. And again, I've bought this one. This is £73, so £13 more expensive, or just shy of 25% more expensive than the Low Pro camera lens case. But you can see, I mean, you can see the size difference straight away. You know, look at this. You can see the size difference straight away. It's a little bit more bulky. Do I want that? I don't know. Do I want the extra bulk? I mean, this has got to go in the garage. It's got to go in the boot of the car. It's got to go in the car. I've got to carry this around the course to the driving range. Am I going to look like that guy? I don't know. So we'll see. But this is the hard case. But what's inside? What does it look like inside? Well, let's flick this open. Let's take a look. It's very, very sturdy. And we get inside there this really nice kind of foam padded, I guess, lid. And then we get a lot of foam padding. And the beauty of this is, so we've got, this is clearly not going to fit without a little bit of work, but that's okay, that's what it's for. I mean, that is a very nice fit, as long as it doesn't move. okay, which we'll get to in a second. So what I like about this is that you would have to customize it, and that, I feel like that's probably a good thing. So if I'm using this, I would probably, because the handle's here, you can see that, you know, can you see this, this sort of material? It's intended, this foam, to be cut. So you'd obviously mark around. You'd mark around this, and I'd put the unit at the top near the handle, because when you do inevitably drop this thing, there's a lot more of this protection here, because when this closes up, it's going to be fairly tightly sealed. I like this because I can get the alignment stick in there just without any force in it. There's no hassle on this, you know. I can just get this straight in, and I can cut a little section out here. I could just cut a subsection of this foam work out, and just to kind of sit this inside. Now the concern that I've got is that I am going to have to cut this foam. I'm going to have to tip. What's it like? Let's have a look. Will it? Oh, actually, maybe not. Oh no, look at that. Look at that, it closes without making any cuts. Interesting. So you can hear the alignment stick moving, so maybe I'd have to cut that, but it doesn't feel like the unit's moving. Let's have a look. I've given that a little bit of battering on the floor. Yeah, that hasn't really moved. This has. The alignment stick was clattering against this, but that didn't move because of the way that this is quite tight. That's actually pretty good. All right, I'm actually quite impressed by that. Now, what's interesting is I wonder if, in sort of the real world, whether you would cut a space for the GC3 out of this, and you would perhaps maybe leave this foam in here, and you'd maybe actually cut this out and seat that so it genuinely didn't move. You know, maybe that is the way that you would play this with this hard case. So they're the two options. A hard case like this, or a camera sort of lens case like this one, which actually it's quite difficult to make the call on. I think it's down to personal preference. I'm a little bit OCD. I would be very worried about this GC3 launch monitor that's cost thousands and thousands of pounds getting damaged on the way to the course, and just when you're trekking around, you know, doing what you do, tramming this thing around. I don't know, it depends on your use case. But I would be worried about dropping this thing. I would be worried about it getting sort of kicked over, or, you know, you leave it somewhere while you sort of maybe set your trolley up. I don't know. You set your gear up and you knock it with something, or you hit it with a golf club while it's in transit. I don't know. It's going to be rolling around in the trunk of the car. I feel like this hard case option is the ultimate protection for the GC3. And for an extra £13, it's probably the right choice. But it just feels maybe a little bit bulky. All right, so I think maybe, for me, honestly, I think the compromise is actually, this. I think it really is. I think it's this camera case, this lens case. Because, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's got enough padding. We aren't going to be purposely throwing the GC3 around. And I just feel like if you're someone that has spent this money on the GC3, and that is, you know, you play golf at the end of the day, you like your equipment, you're careful with your equipment, this is probably enough. This is probably enough. So the Low Pro at just shy of £60 just beats out the hard case option at around £73. It just pips it for me. So there you have it, the two options. You've got the Meier hard case and you've got the Low Pro camera lens case. And as I mentioned, I think the Low Pro just gets it for me. I think that sizing is much better. I think it's not as unwieldy, it's slightly cheaper. And I think it does give you the amount of protection that you need to be taking your Foresight GC3 launch monitor out on the course, or probably to the range. I think is probably the better use case for this, because you aren't going to be throwing it around. If you drop it, it has enough protection. It's there to tens of thousands of pounds worth of camera lenses, so of course it's going to protect your GC3 just as well. And although I did really like the idea of the hard case, I'm a real fan of a hard shell case. I think it's just an obvious protection element. It was just a little too much. And there's also let's be honest, there's a conscious factor. You know, you've got to walk to the range with these things. At my club, you park up, you walk past the clubhouse, you've got all your gear with you, and you're walking where, you know, frankly, everyone can see you. I don't know, I might feel a little embarrassed walking with a great big hard case. So just having a bag that you can sling over your shoulder, for me, works well. And I have been using that low pro camera bag for my Foresight GC3 launch monitor for a few weeks now, and I can confirm that it does a wonderful, wonderful job. What did you settle on? How do you carry your own Foresight GC3 launch monitor around? Let me know in the comments what solution you settled on, or if there's something that I missed. Remember, hit like, hit subscribe, tell a friend, and enjoy your golf.